to show you my toys.
Hey everybody, this is D Hunter bringing another action figure review. Today we're looking at the Diamond Select Real Ghostbusters Peter Venkman action figure. This is from Series 10. This is the final assortment of Diamond Select's Ghostbusters line. This is going to complete the Ghostbuster Firehouse front diorama. I cannot wait to see that together. I cannot wait to put these 4 real Ghostbusters together. It's been a long time coming. This diorama has been building for about 2 years. Finally able to put it together. It's looking great so far. So you can see here we've got Peter in his brown suit. It comes with a bunch of different hands, his proton pack, PKE meter, trap, and of course the diorama accessory. You can see he's in the blue-purple Real Ghostbusters packaging, Diamond Select. On the side we've got a picture of the action figure, Ghostbusters logo. Nothing on the top or the other side, nor the bottom. And on the back you can see the rest of the wave. We've got Mr. Stay Puft, Ray Stantz, Peter Venkman. Like I said, I cannot wait to get these 4 Ghostbusters together. And to finish this diorama here, as you can see, there is still a little piece missing at the top. So with no further ado, let's open this guy up and just see how awesome everything is. Alright, well now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all of his accessories laid out. He comes with, of course, a proton pack, which is semi-attached, a PKE meter, a trap, 6 alternate hands, and a first-time green proton stream. Now before we go any further, I'd like to tell you a little story of how I got this figure. I ordered them from Amazon.com, this entire wave, and I've really ordered the majority of all the Diamond Select Ghostbusters figures from Amazon.com, and they've done a pretty good job delivering, but this time they did not. The figures were supposed to release, I want to say, February 15th or something like that. They ended up, Amazon had them scheduled for February 27th, and when that date came around, I only got the Marshmallow Man. I did not get the entire wave, which was very disappointing, especially because I could not build the diorama. I waited about 2 weeks later. I googled and I found them at atomicempire.com for $22 each, which is cheaper than Amazon had them. Of course, there was a little bit of shipping, so it ended up being pretty much the exact same price, a few cents cheaper at Atomic Empire. And what's even more amusing is, when I went to make that order, it turned out I had an account and I have done an order there 13 years ago. In addition to that, these figures are based off the old Real Ghostbusters cartoon and very reminiscent of the Kenner toys. A lot of nostalgia going on there. I was born in 1984. I watched this cartoon show as a kid. I had the entire Kenner toy line as a kid. Really cool to finally have the final figure from this series. So let's check out the guy up close. I like the way he looks. I like his hair, sort of way it's sort of twirled up there and whatnot. Kind of got the green accents on the suit. He's got a dark brown suit, unique belt, different than the movie version. Of course, it is the exact same sculpt as the previous releases. But I'll tell you, I think he looks very nice. I look forward to getting along with this review. Alright, well now let's check out this guy's accessories. First of all, he comes with a proton pack, which is sort of permanently attached, but we'll get to that a little more later. He comes with a combined total of 6 hands, 2 ungloved and 4 gloved hands. He has a PKE meter, a trap, and then a unique colored proton stream. First, let's check out his hands. So his ungloved hands, pretty much semi-open. They could potentially hold something or support something. And then the gloved hands, which I'll be using as my default, he's got both an open version and then a slightly less open version, which would be good for holding the proton pack, the base of it, and this hand would be good for supporting it. More than likely I'll use this as my right hand, and my left hand will be the semi-open one. Let's go ahead and switch those over. Alright, here he is with the hands that will be his default sort of permanent hands. I'll take the rest of these hands and throw them into my big action figure fodder body parts pile. And then here he is holding his proton weapon with the 2 hands I chose. As you can see, use the open hand, semi-open hand to hold the base, and the more open hand to sort of support underneath the barrel. Next, I would like to look at his PKE meter. This thing here is the cartoon version, completely different sculpt from the movie version, and a completely different design. Love the different colored knobs. Love the loadout sort of screen here. Love the antennas. As a kid, I had a life-size one of these. I believe it was made from Kenner Toys. It's very light. I believe it was hollow. But it's kind of cool, sort of cosplay type item. I think I was Ghostbusters for more than one Halloween. So this has some nostalgia value to me. Here is the movie version of the PKE meter. Notice it's a little more realistic looking, a little bit smaller. Love how they spared no expense and didn't just re-release this painted blue for the Real Ghostbusters. And then here he is using the PKE meter, looking for some paranormal activity or supernatural readings. Do think it looks pretty good. I do like that all four of these figures came with the Proton Pack, PKE meter, and Ghostbusters trap. Kind of standard sort of loadout for each Ghostbuster. Next on the agenda, I would like to check out his trap. Once again, this is a completely new sculpt, designed based off the look from the Real Ghostbusters cartoon. Before I unravel this trap, I want to show you this sort of square hole in the back. Allows it to attach his Proton Pack. I absolutely love holsterable weapons. So you can attach both his trap and his proton weapon to the backpack, which is a really, really cool feature, if I may say so. And then, of course, as you check out the trap, kind of unravel the string, and it keeps trying to go back. It'll take a while to straighten this out. Has a long string with a pedal attached here. Of course, the Ghostbuster slams his foot down here. Trap would open up, suck in the ghost. I also remember having a life-size one of these as a kid. Had a long wire, sort of an air pump feature here. You'd stomp on with your foot, and it would force the trap to open. Pretty cool as well. And then here's the animated trap compared to the movie version of the trap. Notice the movie version is quite a bit larger. Handle's pretty similar. The color's different. And the string with the pedal is about this long on the regular one. And on the movie version, it's quite a bit longer. And the pedal contraption is quite a bit different as well. A little more realistic. There's also a trap from Ghostbusters 2. Pretty much the same as the one from Ghostbusters 1, but it's in the open position. Once again, quite a bit smaller than the Real Ghostbusters trap. And then I also seem to have a Mattel version of the trap, which is smaller than the Diamond one, of course, and pretty in scale with the Real Ghostbuster version. Next, let's check out this guy's Proton Pack. It's blue, very animated sort of looking. It's got all these different buttons and readouts. I like the way it looks, the different colors, how they contrast together. One thing I really like is how it can holster his proton weapon here, and they do a much better job than the previous Proton Packs. Simply has a little notch here, slip it in there, bam, you're good to go. And it's kind of made from sort of a softer material, so it's bendable and should be kind of difficult to break off. And then compared to the movie version, it's a lot more realistic looking. Obviously, it's colored differently, sized differently, totally different sculpt. The way it holsters this is really difficult, especially in the Series 1 figures. Really like that they went out and made a completely new design for the cartoon versions. Once again, I would expect them to just simply repaint the movie versions. And then, of course, the Proton Pack, it is different from the movie version, and not only that, but there's a belt in the front of the figure that is completely different from the movie version as well. Like, they have different accessories. And then I mentioned earlier that the Proton Pack was sort of semi-permanently attached. What I meant by that was you can actually remove them. Here's one that I removed off a movie figure. I didn't actually break this one at all, which is pretty cool. Actually, the only reason I removed it was because the proton weapon itself broke off, but the actual backpack is fully intact. You can take this, push his arms back, just very gently work it, ease its way down, and take it off there, stretch this out. You take his belt off first and just slowly ease it off the figure. Heating it up could potentially help, but it could also allow you to break the item very well. I've broken at least one Proton Pack doing this, but it's pretty cool to have some on the figure, some off the figure. I do wish they were a little bit easier or intended to be removed. The figures look really good in their jumpsuits without the Proton packs as well. Next, you can see the Proton stream that Peter came with. It's green with light blue energy sort of around the main stream. I believe this is a throwback to the Kenner toys, which I think had different Proton color streams with each figure. I do like it. It makes the figures unique and adds a little bit of, I don't know, individuality to each one. And then here are all 4 of the different colors that were released with the Real Ghostbusters figures. They're all unique, except for this one, which is pretty similar to the movie ones. They look pretty cool. I don't believe they ever actually looked like these in the cartoon, but I'd have to rewatch the entire show to give you an answer on that. And then if you've been collecting Ghostbuster figures since the beginning of the Diamond line, and especially if you've gotten all the variations, you've accumulated quite a bit of these Proton streams by now. I will say it's very nice to have extras. There's been a lot of breakage issues over the year. They've upgraded them and definitely enhanced the sturdiness of this part here. My Egon broke immediately right here out of the package. I was able to glue it and it still functions just fine, but it's really annoying. I do remember in Series 1, Diamond neglected to include this piece. You couldn't even attach the Proton streams. You had to email them for one, and the future figures came with extra ones for Series 1. Oops, DST. And then here he is with his green Proton stream attached to his Proton pack, ready to take down some ghosts. Now that we've taken a pretty in-depth look at his accessories, let's check out the height of this figure. This is a DST Diamond Select Toys 7-inch scale figure. Diamond Select is one of the tallest action figure lines that I collect, them and McFarlane. Like I said, they're the 7-inch scale, so this guy here looks like he's measuring up pretty much exactly 7 inches from the top of his hair. He's probably 6 7/8 or even a little taller inches without his hair. Next, let's check out this guy's articulation. And if you've bought any Ghostbuster Diamond Select figures, there's really nothing to surprise you here. Start with his head. Of course, it goes around, does tilt just a hair, barely at all. Can look down about that far, then up, really not at all. Decent range of motion, not great. His shoulders, they're going to go out just a little under 90 degrees. Of course, they can go up, around. They're in a ball joint in there. He's got his elbows single jointed. They go just about 90 degrees. He's got this sort of elbow pad covering up the joint on the back. I will say a little quality control here. Mine came with some extra plastic that covered up the joint and wouldn't allow it to function. I had to cut that off. It's a pretty easy fix, but annoying nonetheless. Then his hand, of course, they're swappable. You can pull the entire thing out. They can move around no problem like so, and they're also hinged. He's got this ab crunch here in the middle, and it doubles up as a waist swivel. He does not have a traditional waist swivel at the waist, but this thing here can act as a waist swivel, can allow him to look up and down a little more. Really, he can bend around quite a bit. It's pretty cool. Then his legs, they go out just a little under 90 degrees. Can't quite do the entire splits, although why would you need him to? Of course, they can go up, not 90 degrees, about that far, and back, barely at all. He's got a thigh cut right here. He's got double jointed knees. They can go almost all the way back. His feet, they can't turn at all from side to side. They can go up about that far, then down about that far, and there is an ankle rocker inside of there. Next, I would like to see how much reuse there is from the Real Ghostbusters Peter with Peter from Ghostbusters 1. This is the original figure they made. And then here's the Real Ghostbusters version. Feet are different. This guy has pants that kind of go over them. That's pretty cool. Legs seem pretty much the same except for the very bottom part. I'd say honestly, every single thing looks to be identical except for the Proton pack, the belt, the feet, and the head. They've gotten quite a bit of use out of this sculpt over the years, but I think they did a pretty good job executing these cartoon figures and saving some money on the sculpt. Works for me. Peter here is actually the only one of the original Ghostbusters with a different kind of legs. All the rest of them use the exact same legs as this guy. And looking at Peter next to Ray, one thing that really doesn't work for me is I believe they used the exact same sculpt for all four of the Ghostbusters bodies. The only sort of problem I have with that is that Ray is definitely a little bit chunkier than the other guys, and it doesn't reflect that in the toy. Next, I'd like to compare him with some other action figure lines, both 6 and 7 inch, so you can see how he scales up with them. And then I would like to compare him to some other Ghostbuster figures. And then check out the diorama completed. Here he is next to some of his Diamond Select Toys brothers. These are 5 different Diamond Select action figure lines in front of you. And I must say they all scale up pretty nicely with each other. And then here he is next to some various McFarlane Toys action figure lines. These are also 7 inch scale, and they do scale up pretty nicely with the Diamond figures. And then here he is next to some NECA action figures from 4 different various NECA action figure lines. NECA is also sort of the 7 inch scale, but they're a little bit shorter than Diamond or McFarlane Toys. Kind of in the middle between 6 and 7 inches. And then here he is next to some 7 inch DC figures. These are DC Collectibles, DC Essentials figures. They scale up pretty nicely, a little bit shorter than the Diamond figures, but really cool, full 7 inch tall DC figures. And then here he is next to some Mattel wrestling figures. These 2 are from the basic line, and these 2 are from the Elite line. I find the Elite figures scale up to the Diamond figures pretty nicely, although these are some of the taller wrestlers that I have. And then here he is next to some DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. These are definitely 6 inches tall, about 6.5, but considerably shorter than the Diamond figures that tower over them. And then here he is next to some Mafex figures. These guys are pretty similarly scaled to Marvel Legends and getting increasingly smaller and smaller with each comparison. And then here he is next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends figures. Once again, definitely towering over them. Here he is next to some Mattel Ghostbuster figures. Definitely a different scale, but just in case you're curious if you could blend them together or not. Next, let's check him out with some other Diamond Ghostbuster figures. Here he is with the rest of Series 10, the final wave. And then here he is next to the Series 9 Real Ghostbuster figures. Here he is next to all the Diamond Peter action figures that I have. This is Peter from Ghostbusters 1, Real Ghostbusters, and then Ghostbusters 2 in his darker suit. All 3 of these have different head sculpts. I don't have all the Peter figures they've made. There's a slimed Peter that I sold off. I didn't feel like he was necessary to keep. There's also, I believe, a Marshmallow Peter. And then just because this is what it would look like if you swapped their heads with the movie and cartoon versions. And then finally, here they are together. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time since they revealed they're making Real Ghostbuster figures, as well as the Firehouse diorama. Very happy to finally have all 4 of these guys together. And then here they are, all 4 of them, pulling out their proton weapons, getting ready to bust some ghosts. And then here's the squad of 4 taking it down, the 2 ghosts that came with the Real Ghostbuster waves of figures. And here they are taking down another sort of ghost-like figure out of my collection. Works well with these figures, if I may say so. And here they are taking down yet another ghost or monster figure in my collection. And one last figure, huge monster ghost creature for them to take down. Wonder how this guy will fit in a trap. Now there is one last accessory we have not discussed. That is the Collect and Connect Firehouse diorama piece that comes with this Peter figure. This is the final piece to put it all together. So let's assemble it and see what's up. And now here it is with Ray's piece attached. You can see this thing is almost complete. And let's go ahead and put Peter's on there and show you what it's like when it's done. And of course, this is what it looks like before the final piece that came with Peter, how it looks. And then here it is. Here's the finished product, fully assembled, 15 pieces. Been the better part of 2 years of working toward this point, and it does not disappoint. It looks great. It's very sturdy. Next, let's check out the measurements of this diorama. This is intended to go with 7-inch scale action figures. From top to bottom, this thing is at about 22.5 inches. From one side to the other side, it's sitting at just a hair below 22 inches, about 21.75 inches. And as far as how deep it is, we're sitting at right about 7 inches deep. Here is the diorama with a Ghostbuster figure in front of it. You can see just how massive and beautiful this thing is. Absolutely pleased with the end result. And as far as the diorama goes, my city's in a little bit disarray right now, but here's where the diorama currently is going to fit in my city setup. Right here on the edge of this building, got the stuff going on inside of there. Since it's mostly going to be used in my action figure setup, not specifically Ghostbusters, I probably will remove this Ghostbuster piece and just have it in the front of the city, doorway leading to who knows where. Here's the completed Firehouse diorama next to, believe it or not, 2 fully completed rooftop dioramas from series 1 through 5. I find the 2 rooftop dioramas to be absolutely amazing for my action figure world. Great for city setups and etc, etc. And this is actually the place that the rooftop diorama from the first 5 waves of Ghostbusters hangs out. And of course, there are 2 of them in my action figure setup. You can see the size differences with these 2 dioramas. The firehouse is quite a bit taller, but the rooftop is quite a bit deeper and wider. Here's a little bit more of an aerial view so you can see how much wider the rooftop one is than the firehouse front. And you can also see just how much deeper the rooftop one is than the firehouse. So all in all, I must say, very solid figure. Like the outfit, like the green sort of hints at certain areas of it. Peter was probably my favorite figure from the old cartoon, at least as a kid. He was a little bit dumber than the other guys. He was not as scientist-like, a little bit cooler as well. But as far as the figures go, he is a really nice figure, but I think it's a toss-up between Ray and Egon as far as which one is my favorite. If I were to rate this figure, I'd give him still a 7 out of 10. I think I gave Ray a 7.5. Very nice figure here, a lot of nostalgia going on. That seems to be the thing nowadays with action figure companies, cashing on the nostalgia some of us adults had as a kid. We've got these Real Ghostbuster figures, kind of similar to Kenner ones. NECA makes these Kenner Alien and Predator and Terminator figures. We've got Marvel Legends and Star Wars doing retro packaging, etc., etc. We've seen Multiverse showed some Toy Biz throwback figures they're going to be making soon. So, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, press like below. If you want to see additional videos from me, press subscribe. Keep your eye out for my Ray and Marshmallow Man review from this wave. And I'm also upcoming going to be doing a review on the diorama. If you have anything you want to say about the video, put it in the comments below. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.